Welcome to Muddassir Academy's listening exercise. Today we bring you The Dual Mind, a gripping tale inspired by Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Listen closely and test your understanding with the following questions.
The Dual Mind. In the heart of a sprawling metropolis where neon lights flickered over rain-soaked streets, Dr. Henry Jekyll sat hunched over his laboratory desk. His fingers trembled as he scribbled into a worn leather journal. Years of research, sleepless nights and ethical dilemmas had led him to this moment, the edge of a scientific breakthrough. Jekyll was not just any scientist. He was obsessed with the idea that human nature was a battlefield between good and evil, that inside every person lived two opposing forces. What if they could be separated? What if the darker side could be controlled or even erased? The glowing serum in front of him was the answer, a chemical key to unlock the mind's hidden duality. With a deep breath, Jekyll rolled up his sleeve and injected the serum into his veins. A sudden burning sensation spread through his body. His vision blurred, muscles contorted, and his reflection in the glass cabinets twisted into something monstrous. His lean face thickened, his eyes darkened, and his refined posture slumped into something wild, something primal. A grin spread across his new face. He felt alive. Gone was the cautious, reserved Dr. Jekyll. In his place stood Edward Hyde, a version of himself unfettered by morality, free from guilt. The city became his playground. He walked through the streets, his movements sharp and confident, as if he owned the night. He indulged in every desire without hesitation, a man unchained from consequence. At first, Jekyll believed he had control. He would switch between himself and Hyde, dipping in and out of this darker persona like an actor playing a role. But soon, the transformations became unpredictable. He would wake up in strange places, his hands bruised, his clothes torn, with no memory of what Hyde had done. Reports of an unidentified man wreaking havoc filled the news, and Jekyll feared the truth. Hyde was no longer just a shadow of his mind, he was taking over. Desperate to regain control, Jekyll locked himself in his lab. His hands shook as he flipped through pages of research, looking for a way to reverse the serum's effects. The mirror across the room reflected his pale, hollow face, but in its depths, something else stirred. Hyde stared back at him. A grin curled on the reflection's lips, though Jekyll's own face remained still. "You thought you could control me," the reflection whispered. Jekyll stumbled backward. "You're not real." "Oh, but I am," Hyde chuckled. "I am every thought you suppressed, every desire you denied, and now I am stronger than you." Jekyll clutched his head, his mind fracturing under the weight of Hyde's growing presence. There was only one way to end this. If Hyde lived, he could destroy everything. If Jekyll lived, Hyde would still linger in the shadows waiting. Taking a final deep breath, Jekyll mixed a last dose of serum. But this one wasn't meant to transform him, it was meant to end him. As he lifted the vial to his lips, Hyde's voice echoed in his head, laughing, and then silence. The next morning, the city awoke to news of Dr. Jekyll's mysterious death. His laboratory was in ruins, his research burned, his secrets buried. But some say on quiet nights, a shadow still moves through the alleys, Hyde, refusing to be forgotten.
Comprehension questions. Where does the story take place? What scientific breakthrough was Dr. Jekyll pursuing? What was the purpose of the serum Jekyll created? How did Jekyll physically change after taking the serum? 5. Describe Edward Hyde's personality compared to Dr. Jekyll. What started happening to Jekyll as he continued using the serum? How did Jekyll try to regain control over his transformations? What was unusual about Jekyll's reflection in the mirror? What did Hyde mean when he said, I am every thought you suppressed, every desire you denied. 10. How did Jekyll ultimately try to end his struggle with Hyde? Final challenge. What does this story teach us about human nature? Write a short paragraph explaining your thoughts. Thank you for participating in this listening and comprehension session from Muddassir Academy. Stay tuned for more educational content.